Hi guys, Olive here. I thought you might like to take a look inside my reading room. I cleaned up just for you, so come on in. Welcome to my reading room. This is the desk area. I used to use this desk a whole lot more back when I was in school. It doesn't get quite as much use these days, especially since I now have a computer desk that I work at. This is now more storage and decorative than anything else. As you can see, I have some things on the top and I have some decorations above. As you can see on the far left, I have a personal library kit and a little book notebook that it's sitting on top of. I just recently got both of those in the Reddit Gifts book exchange that I do every year. I was very excited to receive those. In the middle, I have a lavender and lilac candle from North Avenue Candles, one of my favorite candle companies. They're local here to Pittsburgh. It's owned by a wonderful girl named Amanda, and most of their candles are based off of books in some way. So this one is based off of the color purple. It is clean burning. It is amazing. I love having one of these lit when I'm in my reading room. And then over on the right side, you can see I have a pencil pouch that my best friend got me for Christmas one year. I like big books and I cannot lie. I have some Post-its. Those are absolutely vital for all the reviewing work I do and for some of my channel stuff. I found these ripe olive erasers that I just could not resist given what my name is. I thought it was perfect to have on my desk. I found this little world map tin at a thrift store. As you can see, I keep all my pencils and pens and my calculator, my scissors in there, all my office supplies. I actually used that exact calculator through most of my accounting classes. They wouldn't allow you to use any sophisticated calculators, so I had to go out and buy the most basic one out there, and now it serves as a nice little desk calculator. Above my desk are lots of decorations, all of which mean something to me personally. Right below the light switch is a little finger paint drawing that one of the kids I used to be a nanny for made for me. Immediately to the right, I have a whole array of postcards and one printout. Most of these have something to do with Russia. A lot of them I got when I was in Russia. So starting from left to right in the top row, it's Nicholas II. It's actually a painting of him that I thought was gorgeous. He was a very handsome guy. Next, there's a postcard just of St. Petersburg, of Hram Spasna Kravi, that I got from my tutor after I returned from Russia. I've kept it ever since. Next, I have another postcard of St. Petersburg and another postcard of Nicholas II, this time in his uniform. And then in the next row on the left, I have this little printout. I found this image sometime when I was in college. You can tell I printed it out in black and white on one of the crappy college printers, but I absolutely had to have it. It says, "Russia, the never never land of steppes, samovars, and spies, beards, bears, bombs, and borscht, where almost anything can happen, and usually does." It was so perfect. I had to have it on my wall. Next, I have a postcard from Amish country because I'm a Pennsylvania girl, and then one final postcard of St. Petersburg, of the bridges going up at night. I actually got to take a boat tour. When I was studying abroad in St. Petersburg, I got to see those bridges go up. It was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. I also have some posters on this wall above the desk. As you can see on the left, I have a poster all about St. Petersburg and all the different sites that make up the beautiful city of St. Petersburg. I actually had this customized to a certain extent by the seller who made these on Etsy. She's no longer in business, but she had kind of the base model, and then you could swap out any three for three of your choosing if you paid a little extra. And I really wanted it to be representative of my time in Russia, the time I spent in St. Petersburg. I forget what the third one was, but I know I added in the Smolny Institute because we worked really, really hard to get a tour of the Smolny when I was in Russia. It is now currently a government building, so they're very reticent to give you a tour. You almost have to know someone, so we made a lot of phone calls to get into the Smolny, so it had to be on my poster. and also Cathedral of Our Lady of Kazan. I lived right down the road from there when I was in St. Petersburg. That absolutely had to be on my poster. To the right of the St. Petersburg poster, I have 3 different book-themed mini posters. The top one and the bottom one my best friend got me for Christmas one year, and the one in the middle came from a Book Riot box, and I just got the frame. I liked the white frame in the middle of the 2 black frames. They're not entirely even, but it doesn't really matter to me. To the right of those, I have 2 photos and 1 postcard. The top photo is of my nieces when they were younger. They're making very silly faces. I love that photo of them, so I wanted to hang it up. The one below that is my husband and me right after we got married. We had a little bit of an impromptu photo shoot at the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh in the Oakland neighborhood. And that's probably my favorite photo of us ever. It was completely candid, so I have it hanging up. And then below that, I have a postcard of a seahorse from the National Aquarium in Baltimore. Now, to the right of my desk, I have this lamp. As you can see, it's very helpful for doing work at my desk when I choose to do some. And then to the right of that, I have the newest bookshelf in my reading room. I was having to pile up books everywhere, all over the floor of this room, all over the top of this toy chest that I'll show you next, but I really needed another bookshelf. I just don't have a ton of room in this reading room for one. So I got this fairly skinny Billy bookcase from IKEA. I have lots of overflow, mainly nonfiction, since that's the majority of what I own. And then to the right of that bookcase hanging up on the wall, I have the newest poster addition to my reading room that I just recently hung up since I just got a frame for it. But it's Liquid Sunshine Radium. The woman who makes these has all of these different creepy designs for posters. I would get a copy of each and every one of them. I got this one at a really cool store called the Weeping Glass here in Pittsburgh. They had a whole selection of them. I chose this one. Looking at her website though, she has, again, about 10 others that I would like to own. Next to the bookcase and below the poster, you can see sticking out a little bit here, it's my toy chest. Here you can see it a little bit better. This is my toy chest. I have had this for my entire life. It was made for me immediately after I was born by a relative. Of course, he could not have known that I would be going by Olive come my high school years, but that's fine. I have used this thing since I was a kid. All of my stuffed animals lived in here, and now I continue to keep things that are precious to me in here. I have all my old schoolwork from college. Yes, I kept all of that. I worked very hard on it. I'm keeping it. I have different things from different jobs I've had, keepsakes, old concert tickets, anything that means something to me, I keep in there. I keep stationery in there. Lots of good stuff. I won't go through it. Of course, it's very personal, but I love having this. For the longest time, Tony and I didn't live in big enough places for me to have this here. But once we moved into this place, my mom and my stepfather brought this for me. They'd been keeping it safe for me, which I'm so grateful for. But having this back in my life, in my special space, means the world to me. Now, as you can see, to the right of my toy chest is another bookshelf, and you can probably see that it is populated exclusively by books on Russia. I know back when we lived in the old place, I did a bookshelf tour and I took you through some of my books on Russia. There have been some new additions since then, but my collection of Russia books is pretty much my collection of Russia books. So a lot of what you saw in that bookshelf tour, if you watched it, is what you'll see here. Allowing my Russia books to have their own shelf had been something I had been wanting for a really long time. I not only wanted to clear off some space on my other shelves, but I also thought that they kind of belonged on their own shelf. So shortly after we moved into this place, I ordered this one. It's kind of a ladder bookshelf. I really like the looks of it. My husband helped me assemble it, and as I started putting all of my books on there, I realized that they didn't all fit. So you can see a little sneak peek up in the right corner. Some of them ended up in the closet right next to here. This shelf is really great. I love the look of it, and it also has enough space where I can keep a lot of my Russia-related knickknacks on there. So you can see I have Cheburashka and Gena. I have my little completely fake Fabergé egg over here with a little peacock on the front. I think it's absolutely beautiful. On the left of this exact same shelf, I have two little candles, also from North Avenue Candle Company. On the shelf above, I have a little statue of Lenin that I brought back from St. Petersburg. I got him from a little Soviet artifact store. I wanted to bring back so many things from Russia, but I knew I wasn't going to have space in my suitcase, and I didn't have the money to be dropping on a bunch of that stuff, but I at least got to bring back him. Also on this shelf, you can see I have a little framed heart photo of me and Tony. I believe this was at my senior homecoming dance. We've been together a really long time, since we both were teenagers, and my godmother got a copy of this photo of us. She told me that she already had the frame, and when she looked at the photo, she realized that it might be a good fit for the frame, and so she cut it along the outer edges and put it in, and it was basically a perfect fit. So we both agreed that it was kind of meant for that frame, and I've had it ever since. And on the top of this shelf, I have another Chiburashka plushie, and he says Zachodzi na chai, which means come over for tea. Tony got that for me for my birthday one year. And then I have a little plate for St. Petersburg, Sankt Peterburg, and I also brought that back from Russia. On the wall to the right of my Russia shelf is this framed lithographs poster of Pride and Prejudice. It's Lizzie hiding behind a tree watching Mr. Darcy. And when you zoom in, it's actually made up of the words of Pride and Prejudice. It just so happens that the wall I decided to hang this poster on has an outlet on it. Two-prong, because this is a very old building. But then one month I got this book box, and within the book box it has this outlet cover that is also covered in the words of Pride and Prejudice, so I thought it was perfect to put right below this poster. So here is the run-over closet where all the rest of my Russia books are. As I said, they did not all fit on that bookshelf, so I had to put them in here. I was loosely intending to use this as an actual closet when we first moved in here, but it's become more storage for books. Most of my books on the older periods of Russian history fit out on that shelf. So these ones are mainly Soviet history, more recent Russian history, and we also have Russian literature and any fiction relating to Russia. I'm not immune to the charms of fairy lights, so I do have these little octopus fairy lights wrapped around the pole in this closet. Again, it is a closet, so that's where things would normally hang. I'm just not using it as a closet. The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery is one of my favorite books after all, so I couldn't resist these ones. And then the wallpaper in this closet. It was so poorly put up on the wall, you can tell it's just as old as can be, but I have really grown to love it. It's almost so ugly that it's gorgeous. There are these metallic flowers. They almost look like thistle flowers. I've really grown to love it. Just continuing to move clockwise around the room. This is my reading chair. You can tell it's gotten a lot of love. I do a lot of reading in this chair. I have for several years. I have my little book cart next to it, that one that everyone on Instagram seems to have. I keep all the books that I'm reading in the current month on the top shelf. The second shelf I use mainly for next month's books, as I'm starting to plan out next month's reading. I have not started to plan out next month's reading. That's why that shelf is empty. And then the bottom shelf I keep mainly for project books. So right now I have some of my 5-star nonfiction predictions down there. I have some of the books that have been on my TBR the longest, so I can easily just pull those when I'm ready for them. Directly to the right of my book card on the opposite wall, I have some blank wall space, which I don't have a whole lot of since this room is pretty thoroughly decorated now, but it's my hope to hang up some additional bookshelves on this wall. I'm not very good at that kind of thing. I might need some help for that, but it would be really great to put all of my review copies there, anything I'm writing about, anything I'm hoping to review for my channel, anything that's been sent to me by publishers. It would be nice to have them right there. Maybe I could even move some of those project books from my book cart, free up some space there, and then put them on this wall so I know that real priority books would all be on this wall. And now, finally, the main attraction. These are my big bookshelves. These are the ones I film right in front of. You probably know portions of these shelves pretty well since they're behind me in basically every video. Because I'm a little bit of a weirdo, I have this miniature human skull statue, which is appropriately placed on this shelf considering the books that are on that shelf. And then right below that, I have a picture of me and Tony from that exact same photo shoot we did after we got married. On top of this stack of books all about food and beverages is my bookmark collection. I keep them all tucked in there. I'm running out of space though because I keep acquiring more bookmarks. Here's someone you may recognize. It's my stuffed vulture, Rupert. I can't tell you how many comments I get on this channel asking me what exactly is going on with that weird stuffed bird behind me. So Let me introduce you to him. This is Rupert the Vulture. I actually got him while I had this channel. I introduced him right after I first got him. He's been pretty much a staple ever since. I got him at the National Aviary here in Pittsburgh, but I think you can find him online as well in case you would like to have your own Ruperts. I have some Pop Funkos on this middle shelf. There are the Beauty and the Beast ones that you can see in pretty much every video, but the one that I normally am sitting in front of when I film is my Mr. Rogers Pop Funko. He's very important to us here in Pittsburgh. On the top left of this last shelf, I have a visual reminder that well-read women are dangerous. Rar. Immediately below that, I have this cross-stitch sampler that one of my really, really good friends made for me. I actually met her in Russia and we've remained friends ever since. This is a Nicki Minaj lyric since we both really like Nicki Minaj. On the right side of the shelf, I have a framed picture of me and my best friend. And then right below that, I have 3 matryoshkas, all from different places. The one in the middle I got when I was in Russia. I actually got it when we were on a tour of Karelia. The other 2 were gifts. These are the final shelves that I'll be showing off. On the top one, I have 3 Furby figurines that I got from a comic book store here in Pittsburgh. They're the old McDonald's toys. They were still in their bags. They were super cheap, so I just had to have some to put on my shelves because I loved Furbies just like any other late 90s, early 2000s kid. Immediately below the Furbies, I have a framed photo of Jinx Monsoon, my all-time favorite drag queen, my inspiration for living my best theatrical, most fabulous life. I have a candle that reminds me of Jinx because it says don't make me use my mom voice because she's a cool mom. I also have her Pop Funko. And then on this bottom shelf here, I have a rubber snake, as you can see. This actually I got from one of my old jobs. One of my coworkers bought a whole pack of these rubber snakes to try to scare another one of my coworkers. He succeeded. It definitely scared him. So then he tried to victimize other people in the office. He put one on my desk, but little did he know I used to work at a pet store and I used to walk around carrying ball pythons. Snakes don't scare me. When I left that job, he offered me one of the rubber snakes as a little parting gift. So I took one and he lives on my bookshelves now. And then over on the left side of that exact same shelf is a literal bean toy. He is a real life Beanie Baby. He is stuffed with actual dried beans. I had one just like this when I was growing up. Not this exact one, but one that was similar to this. It was different colors, of course. But my mom had found this pattern and made me this toy that I took around everywhere when I was younger. I loved him a whole lot. I'm not sure what happened to him. He probably broke, and I imagine dried beans went everywhere after that happened. But when my mom was getting ready to move recently, she found the pattern that she used all those years ago, and she asked me if I would like for her to make me a new one. And I said I would. I thought that would be awesome to have on my bookshelves. So that was everything in my book room. As you can see, it's not the biggest room ever, but it has plenty of space for what I need it for. I'm so grateful to have it. Tony does use it every so often, but it is most frequently just my special space. It's very quiet. It's very relaxing, especially if I have a candle burning. Before we moved to this place, whenever I thought about having a room that was all mine, a room just for my books, a room just for me, I thought about what I would want it to look like and what I would want it to feel like. And I always wanted it to be cozy, and I wanted it to be reflective of my interests and my personality, and I wanted it to be filled with things that mean something to me. I know my reading room does not have a modern design. I know it's much hipper these days to have the cool color schemes and the stainless steel accents and make everything be very crisp and clean, and minimalism is very big right now, but that is not at all my style. I don't think that's warm. I don't think that's cozy. I don't think it's personally meaningful. I think it's clear just by looking at everything in this room. So much of my history is in here and so much of my present is in here. It is just a place where I feel like I can relax and completely be myself, which is so helpful because I film in here. This room means the world to me, and I'm really glad I got to show it to you. I hope you enjoyed this look inside my special reading space, but now I've got to get back to reading. See you in the next video. Bye.